When you think of great ancient empires, what comes to mind? Rome, Greece, Persia. For centuries, our history books have focused on these, leaving vast, powerful empires in other parts of the world, shrouded in mystery. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on Africa, a continent not just of pyramids and pharaohs, but of sprawling, wealthy, and incredibly advanced civilizations that shaped the course of history. Get ready, because we're about to explore the hidden history of Africa's greatest empires. Let's start in West Africa, with the Empire of Ghana. No, not the modern country, but an ancient empire that flourished from around the 6th to the 13th century. The name Ghana actually meant king, and their king was so rich he was called the Lord of Gold. Imagine this, the capital, Kumbi-Saleh, was a massive, bustling metropolis, split into two cities. One was for the king and his royal court, a sacred, walled city of stone and wood. The other was the business district, a vibrant hub where merchants from across the Sahara traded salt, copper, and textiles for Ghana's seemingly endless supply of gold. They didn't just have gold, they controlled the trade routes. Their armies, said to be 200,000 strong, protected the caravans, making Ghana the undisputed superpower of its time. This wasn't just a kingdom, it was an economic powerhouse that controlled the flow of wealth across continents. As Ghana's influence waned, another titan rose in its place, the Mali Empire. And when you talk about Mali, one name echoes through history, Mansa Musa. You might have heard of him as the richest person who ever lived. In 1324, he embarked on the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, and his journey literally changed the world. He traveled with an entourage of 60,000 people, including 12,000 servants, all dressed in the finest silks. And the gold, oh, the gold, he brought so much gold with him carried by 100 camels, each laden with hundreds of pounds of pure gold dust that, when he passed through Cairo, he gave away so much that he accidentally crashed the local economy for over a decade. But Mansa Musa was more than just his wealth, he was a visionary leader. He transformed cities like Timbuktu and Gao into legendary centers of learning and culture. Timbuktu wasn't some mythical, faraway place, it was the Oxford or Harvard of its day. The University of Sankar housed hundreds of thousands of manuscripts on everything from astronomy and mathematics to law and medicine. Scholars from all over the Islamic world flocked there to study and teach. Mali was an empire of intellect and faith, as much as it was an empire of gold. Further east, in what is now Ethiopia, another remarkable empire was carving its name into the mountains, the Kingdom of Aksum. Flourishing from around the 1st to the 7th century, Aksum was a major player in the commercial route between the Roman Empire and ancient India. They had their own written language, ge'ez, and minted their own coins, a clear sign of their power and sophistication. But what really sets Aksum apart are its incredible monuments. They erected massive, single stone pillars called stelae, some soaring over 70 feet into the air. These were intricately carved to look like multi-story buildings, complete with fake doors and windows. Think about that, a dry stone wall, nearly 36 feet high in some places, that has stood for centuries. This wasn't a fortress, it was a symbol of power and prestige, the royal residence of the kingdom's rulers. The people of Great Zimbabwe controlled the regional gold and ivory trade, connecting the African interior with the Swahili coast and, from there, to Arabia, India, and even China. Archaeologists have found Chinese porcelain and Persian pottery among the ruins, proof of a truly global trade network. Speaking of the Swahili coast, this wasn't a single empire, but a string of incredible city-states that dotted the East African coastline from Somalia down to Mozambique. Cities like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar were cosmopolitan melting pots. From around the 8th century onwards, a unique Swahili culture emerged, blending African, Arab, Persian, and Indian influences. Their language, Kiswahili, is a beautiful example of this fusion. These city-states became fantastically wealthy by acting as the middlemen in the Indian Ocean trade. Kilwa, in particular, was described by the famous traveler Ibn Battuta as one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Its rulers lived in lavish palaces, like the Husuni Kubwa, which had over 100 rooms, an octagonal swimming pool, and sophisticated plumbing. They controlled the gold coming from Great Zimbabwe, making Kilwa so rich that it minted its own currency. These weren't isolated towns. They were a connected, sophisticated maritime civilization whose influence was felt across the ocean. Finally, we can't forget the Kingdom of Kush, also known as Nubia, located in what is now modern Sudan. Kush was often overshadowed by its powerful northern neighbor, Egypt, but it was a formidable force in its own right. In fact, for a while, the Kushites conquered and ruled Egypt as the 25th dynasty, the Black Pharaohs, but their story is much more than that. The Kushite capital, Meru, was a thriving industrial center. The city was filled with iron smelters, with huge slag heaps that still stand today, earning it the nickname the Birmingham of Africa. Their mastery of iron working gave them superior weapons and tools. They also developed their own unique writing system, the Meroitic script, which scholars are still working to fully decipher. And pyramids. Egypt wasn't the only place building them. Kush has more pyramids than all of Egypt combined. They are smaller and steeper, but they are a stunning testament to a rich and powerful culture that lasted for over 1,000 years, trading with the Mediterranean world and the African interior.